Today we are converting between fractions, decimals and percentages. Percent means out of 100. So we saw in the equivalent fractions and decimals video that when you have 1/100th, this is the same as 1 divided by 100, which is equal to 0.01. Percent means out of 100. This is 1 out of 100, and therefore this is worth 1%. In the same vein, we saw that 20/100ths was equal to the decimal 0.2, and as percent means out of 100, 20 out of 100 is equal to 20%. So now you're going to have a go. You're going to convert the percentage into the number of squares in a 100 grid, which will help you convert it into a fraction. And then simplify this fraction and then convert it into a decimal, as we've learnt before. For example, 30% would take up 30 out of 100 squares in a 100 square grid. The fraction for that is 30/100ths. The simplified fraction is 3/10ths, as the highest common factor of 30 and 100 is equal to 10. There are 3 10s in 30 and 10 10s in 100. 3 divided by 10 is equal to 0.3, as we've learnt previously. So pause the video now and have a go. So here are the answers. 40% is equal to 40 out of 100 squares, which is the same as 40/100ths, which can be simplified to 2/5, as the highest common factor of 40 and 100 is 20. There are 2 20s in 40 and 5 20s in 100. The decimal for this is 0.4, as 40 divided by 100 is equal to 0.4. %, would be 5 out of 100 squares, which is 5/100ths. The highest common factor of 5 and 100 is 5. There's 1 5 in 5 and 25s in 100. As a decimal, this is 0.05. As 5 divided by 100, we would move the digit 5 2 spaces to the right on the place value chart. So we put 5 in the hundredths column, which is 0.05. 70% would take up 70 out of 100 squares, which is 70/100ths, which can be simplified to 7/10ths, as they can both be divided by 10, which is their highest common factor. 70 divided by 100 is equal to 0.7. So well done. Now go and have a brain break and stretch and have some time for just a few minutes. When we want to turn a fraction into a percentage, we need to find an equivalent 100th fraction. For example, 3/10ths is equivalent to 30/100ths, and we know that percent means out of 100, so 30 out of 100 would be equal to 30%. So whenever you see a fraction which is not out of 100, you can make its equivalent 100th fraction, and then you will know what it is as a percentage. But only if the denominator is a factor or multiple of 100, which won't always be the case. For example, 1/8 does not have a 100th equivalent and needs to be worked out in a different way. The way that we would work out 1/8 is, I know that 2/8 are equal to 1/4, and I know that 1/4 is equal to 25/100ths, and 25/100ths are equal to 25%. 1/8 is half of 2/8. So I need to divide 25 by 2 to find out how many percent 1/8 is worth. 25 divided by 2 is equal to 12.5. And as this was 25% divided by 2, we're going to add the percent symbols in. So 1/8 is equal to 12.5%. So well done. So I want you to have a go at converting these fractions into their equivalent hundredths fractions and then into a percentage. So pause the video now and have a go. So the first fraction, 3/20ths, becomes 15 hundredths, which is equal to 15%, as 15 out of 100 would be 15%. 18 50ths becomes 36 hundredths, which is 36%. 8 25ths becomes 32 hundredths, which is 32%. There are 4 lots of 25 in 100, so we multiplied 8 25ths by 4 fourths to get 32 out of 100. To get the equivalent hundredths fractions from 3 50ths, we multiply it by 2 halves to give us 6 100ths, which is 6%, because 6 divided by 100 is equal to 6%. So well done. So now I would like you to convert percentages into fractions and then fractions to decimals, as we've learnt before. To convert a percentage to a fraction, you put it as a numerator over 100. So for example, 1% is equal to 100th, which as we know is equal to 0.01, as 1 divided by 100 is 0.01. So now I would like you to fill in the missing boxes, pause the video and have a go. So here are the answers. 10%, 10 becomes the numerator over 100, 10 hundredths are equal to 0.1, as 10 divided by 100 is 0.1. 70%, you use 70 as the numerator over 100, 70 hundredths becomes 0.7, as 70 divided by 100 is equal to 0.7. 87, you use as the numerator 87 hundredths, the decimal becomes 0.87. 40%, the fraction is 40 hundredths and the decimal is 0.4. 80%, the fraction is 80 hundredths and the decimal is 0.8. 150%, the fraction, you can still put it over 100, 150 hundredths. You may also have written this as 1 and 50 hundredths if you wrote this as a mixed number, and that's fine too, because that's also correct, which as a decimal is 1.5. As 150 divided by 100 has 1 whole hundred and then half of 100, because 50 is half of 100. So the decimal is 1.5. So well done.